Our mission and values are focused on helping people live healthier lives and making the health system work better for everyone.
On the United Healthcare CEO story.
It's not a monopoly, it's consolidation. And it's very exciting for all kinds of opportunity in the future with
bundling,
all of this.
Bundles.
If you just
and
let us
of
consolidate the employment that we're going to create. They've been
yeah.
falling for that since the 80s.
Yeah, man.
That if you
Since
deregulate
Reagan.
of us corporations, the jobs that we're going to create, and the politicians believed them and they didn't. And next thing you know, a CEO gets whacked. That's what happens.
Comedians Bill Burr and Ilana Glazer have some thoughts to share.
But we're all wondering how Luigi Maggioni went from a promising UPenn graduate to an alleged murderer. New York City Mayor Eric Adams thinks it could have been his education. He says, quote, Maggioni found himself hating corporations and hating other things. We're radicalizing our children in general, but specifically on these Ivy League campuses. The far left media, however, is blaming the healthcare industry.
A couple of things we do know at this early juncture in the case. He didn't even have United Health insurance. He did have some sort of a surgery, but there's no evidence that we know that he had any kind of claim denied. So we still don't really understand what his personal motive is to bring it back to Mayor Adams and talking about the indoctrination at Ivy League schools. I think there may be something there when these professors come into the classroom and they tell you how unfair the world is and how capitalism is awful and it's evil and it's, going after the little guy.
Let's break this down very quickly. Fox News covering for a Dem is ironic in that Eric Adams has always been a Republican. His angle on college campuses is hilarious since he is a staunch Zionist who is peddling talking points. The pundit saying he didn't even have United Health insurance is a laughable statement from an unserious person.
That is what has happened now. And
you know what the amazing thing about that is red and blue are on the same side and we're agreeing. So now I'm going to be fascinated how CNN and Fox News will brand it and pull us back apart again so they can feel comfortable.
They will continue to go further right. And hopefully, my hope is that the people will rise up against income inequality. That is what we're up against. It's racial, it's gender, but it is income inequality that is growing since the 70s.
Meanwhile, these two continue the truth-telling in their podcast session. All the things Glazer has listed have indeed gotten worse. In addition, Burr's point about how cable news will frame this aged like wine.
I've worked in the field of child development for 6 years now, trying to understand the inner needs of children. We deal with such things as the inner drama of childhood. We don't have to bop somebody over the head to make him to make drama on the screen. We deal with such things as getting a haircut, or the feelings about brothers and sisters, and the kind of anger that arises in simple family situations. And we speak to it constructively. We've got to have more of this neighborhood expression of care. And this is what I give. I give an expression of care every day to each child to help him realize that he is unique. I end the program by saying, you've made this day a special day by just your being you. There's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are. And I feel that if we in public television can only make it clear that feelings are mentionable and manageable, we will have done a great service for mental health. I think that it's much more dramatic that two men could be working out their feelings of anger. Much more dramatic than showing something of gunfire. I'm constantly concerned about what our children are seeing. And for 15 years I have tried in this country and Canada to present what I feel is a meaningful expression of care.
The comedians also reflect on the solidarity and class consciousness one Mr. Rogers brought to television for decades.
You ever watch Mr. Rogers?
I just love you said Mr. Rogers. Yes, I love
Mr. Rogers. You ever watch Mr. Rogers with your
leather
kids?
jacket. You're in a bad mood.
Yeah,
I watch.
I'm gonna crack nuts, dog. Skulls, nuts, Bill Burr, dog.
No.
But anyway, like
I watched Mr. Rogers. What do you got to say about
Mr. Rogers, it's like you actually have an example of a working class, a healthy working class, and different races, different genders, different classes actually can work together. People are happy and dignified to work in a factory. Then corporate greed entered the system even further than even more extremely than it's ever been, and income inequality has been growing and growing and growing, and we're at this point where it's a joke. It's a f***ing joke, and we have been pitted against each other. But most people want access to most people want basic human rights.
Exactly. This is all most Americans want, and it is the class struggle we all go through, which the top 1% adores. Pit the working class against one another and do not let them unite through various tactics so they can continue to generate billions off of our labor.
It's a paradox. Inflation is dropping, but prices aren't coming down. How can this be? Because corporations have enough monopoly power to keep them high. At the end of 2023, Americans were paying at least 30% more for beef, pork, and poultry products than they were in 2020. Why? Near monopoly power. Just 4 companies now control processing of 80% of beef, nearly 70% of pork, and almost 60% of poultry. So of course, it's easy for them to coordinate price increases. And this goes well beyond the grocery store. In 75% of U.S. industries, fewer companies now control more of their markets than they did 20 years ago.
Shout out to Inequality Media as they produce fantastic videos on the subject of corporate greed.
I don't get why they can't just it's like, all right, you can have your infinity pool, your whores, and all of that. Why can't you just break off a little bit more?
I completely agree.
Most people, all you want, I want a house, I can afford to have it.
I completely agree.
I can support a family, and on the weekends we can hang out with my family, and I can feed them and clothe them and feel safe. Like, why?
Basic human rights. That's just what there should be, a standard for basic human rights. That is what elected officials are. That's the intention, I believe, is for civil servants and public civil servants to provide a basic standard of human rights and protect it. But what's happening now with a billionaire class coming in and owning a consolidation of companies, they're buying up houses.
Glazer and Burr go further, calling out how people who desire basic human rights are stripped of them because of the oligarchy we have in the country.
Should members of Congress and their spouses be banned from trading individual stocks while serving in Congress?
No, I don't know to this second one. We have a responsibility to report in the stock, on the stock, but I'm not familiar with that 5-month review, but if people aren't reporting, they should be.
Why should they be banned?
Because this is a free market and we are a free market economy. They should be able to participate in that.
A groundbreaking 2004 study by a group of professors and researchers examined the records of U.S. senators between 1993 and 1998. The study found that a portfolio tracking the stocks that the U.S. senators bought during the same time period outperformed the market by 85 basis points each month, and a portfolio that tracked the stocks that the senators sold during the period lagged behind the market by 12 basis points. The study concluded that the senators knew appropriate times to both buy and sell their common stocks.
Either they're geniuses at trading on the stock market, or they had some inside information that we did not have.
Insider trading by corporate insiders is a criminal offense, but those rules are ambiguous for congressional lawmakers.
And to that we say, of course it is.
Yeah, I know, but there's one, how about this last election? Nobody talks about that. And what about how Democrats and Republicans both agreed you can't try them for insider trading? They're criminals.
They're totally corrupt.
It's like it's the kind of shit when I was growing up, they tried to say happened in third world countries, dictatorships, and these guys are and now you can, the Supreme Court, I've been talking about this on my podcast, people are probably sick of it, but
I'm loving it, baby. Give it to me.
They were saying that now it's not a bribe, you can give a politician a gratuity after.
Eat my out. It's not a bribe because it's like I forget you're an older man and this must sound different to you than it does to my queer girlies, but it's just eat my ass, dude. That's a bribe. That's a bribe.
Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/tytsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.